Hello PPs, aka plant people. I'm back with a video today. I'm just going to be doing some plant chores such as like repotting, some extensions of my moss poles. All of my plants have been watered. I have watered my plants. There is a time lapse that you'll see, but today is a nice weather, so I just thought I'd take advantage of the lighting. And so yeah, if you're interested in seeing what I do for my plant care, please stick around and continue watching. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to repot my Alocasia black velvet corms. These were propagated, I believe, like maybe a month and a half ago. So I tried to peel the corms husk, but I struggled, so I'm just giving up. And then I did say I was originally going to plant it into was it perlite? Yeah, but then I think I'm just gonna do it straight into pond because I want these alocasias to grow in pond. So yeah, what you want to do, you see how there's a little like PP there? You're just gonna plant that facing up, and then pretty much after I'm done doing this, I'm just gonna give it a good like flush of water, lots of water. And then I have a lid for this little container, and you're just gonna want that humidity up. And then you're gonna set it under a grow light, and we'll let the magic be happening in a couple weeks. Another thing is, like, don't forget to open it maybe like once a day just for airflow. But I have just set it under my grow light here, and that's where it's going to sit for the next few weeks. And so you can see that they've finally grown some leaves. Aren't they the cutest? I did root them in pond. I wanted to see what it's like, and so it seems to be that I have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 7 have rooted, and 3 out of the 7 have grown leaves for me. I think the last one is going to take a while, but yeah, super cute. Alright, so because I did root these in pond, I am going to put them back into pond. So I have my pond mix here. If you haven't seen my pond video, please go check it out. I pretty much just go through a crash course of what pond is and the type of amendments that I add to my pond. So if you want to see, I have a bunch of perlite, leca, orchiata, and pond in here. I like to put all my propagations and small root cuttings in these little mini dessert cups. I got them from the Dollar Tree, so they look like this. And yeah, so let's see. I probably should be sitting down, but anyways. Whew, super easy to pull out. It's much better than moss for sure. So this is what it looks like, my Alocasia. I think if you're trying to grow an Alocasia plant from a corm, I would recommend doing it in pond, just because if you do it in moss, they're, as you can see, like their root system is very fragile, so I'm pretty sure you'll be ripping out a lot of them. So, which is why I chose pond. So I'm just gonna put a layer of leca down here. So I'm gonna fill it halfway like this, and then I'm just gonna put it in here and cover the rest up with my substrate. And that's it. Super easy, super cute. Okay, since I have, this is pretty much a dried up corm. I don't know if you can see that. I don't have a viewfinder on my cell phone, but I hope you can see this. I have a corm here that hasn't rooted, and I have one that has rooted, but there's no, I don't know if you can see, but there's no growth yet. So I'm just gonna leave it in here. I'm gonna keep this moist. I'm gonna put a lid back on here, and then hopefully it will grow. Okay, so next I do have my Booby plant, my cactus Booby plant that I cut a few days ago. I guess I should take a picture of this first. I'm gonna chop it. So, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? I'm gonna chop it into 3. What? Ah! Oh my god! I chopped it! Where's my... Okay. That was an easy slice. And I'll do another one. Another one. Okay. So, I'm gonna let that callus for 3 days, 2 days, probably a day or something because it's quite dry here. Back to square one. So I have some rooting powder, some cinnamon in here as well. I didn't have any sulfur, but I'm gonna dip, dip, dippity-doo. Boop. That. Then I'll let it callus. And then after it's calloused, I'm just gonna put it in pond and root it like that. Yes. Right. Done. Well, I've let it calloused already for about, how long has it been? There you go. Like 3-4 days. So this is what the bottom looks like. And then this is the top cutting. So it looks okay, like I just don't want it to dry out too much. So I'm just going to pot it into akidama. Akadama is basically a volcanic byproduct, which is produced in Japan, and a lot of the bonsai planting and also just planting your cacti in here is pretty good. So it has the ability to retain moisture and provide the nutrients that your plant needs. So I'm just trying this out. I usually, with my first Booby cacti, I planted it in leca. It's still in leca. I don't really do anything to it, and it's just like grown so tall. It was like this tall. I'll insert a picture here. But yes, so I decided to chop it and maybe hopefully produce a couple of babies. So I'm just gonna fill it up. Like this. And then I'll put it here. Maybe I'll put it a little bit higher. I would recommend wearing gloves for this if you're handling like cacti, just because sometimes the needles are so fine that it can actually poke you and just really irritate you for days. I'm just lazy, so I'll suffer the consequences. Okay. Let's hold it down like this. Hopefully I'll be able to see it root, and hopefully my top cutting doesn't die, because look how cute this is. Look at it, look at it. The first time I bought this plant, it actually had no roots, and so I'm pretty confident in rooting this. But then again, this is a different substrate that I'm rooting it in. So like this, and then I'm just gonna water it after. I guess I'll just talk about how I got into plants. I wasn't really a plant person before. I mean, I enjoyed them, but I didn't really look at it as a hobby. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have became plant moms during pandemic. I mean, there's nothing else to do but to take care of plants. It's either you get a pet or you get into this plant hobby. The first plant that I really wanted was the Philodendron gloriosum, and I actually have a lot of them. I went a little overboard. I had my first gloriosum was I think it was a top cutting. It was so beautiful. I was so obsessed with it, and one day I was like, oh, you know, like I was moving, so I wanted no gnats. I didn't want to move any gnats into the condo. I mean, it didn't happen. I still have gnats, but it's controlled. I decided to change this thriving, huge gloriosum plant into pond, and it absolutely hated it. It threw a fit. It dropped all its leaves. I was left with just a stump, or just a chunk, and it never grew a leaf. It never grew roots. So it dried up, and I ended up tossing it out. But that was my story, and that is my trauma with switching philodendrons into pond, even though I know that a lot of philodendrons grow well in pond. And I'm dropping Akadama everywhere. Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. And so never again will I pot my Philodendron gloriosums in pond. Like, I just don't have any confidence. All my philodendrons are mostly in moss. Excuse the fan in the background, but I also gave my string of hearts a haircut. It was getting quite long. It was hitting like the bottom of the shelf, so I just gave it a little haircut. And then, so I'm just letting these callus a little bit before I stick it in water. I wanted to propagate this one because the top of it is pretty barren. I heard for the top to be very full, you're gonna need lots of light, but I don't have light here, so it is what it is. It's come a long way, actually. Only the top of it was full before, and then so I'm glad it's grown significantly. Okay, next I have my beautiful Monstera albo. I've talked about this plant in my last video, how it lost its fenestrations. Like you can see that this is the first leaf, second leaf, third leaf, and then it's like no fenestrations. I did move it into a place where it gets most of the daylight, but I still have no luck. I'm just going to be patient with this one. It's currently rooting and growing in pond, and then I have it in a sphagnum moss lazy pole. So I'm just going to show you the roots. It actually grew in between my extension, so you can see here. So I'm actually going to take this off and somehow redirect it back into the moss. Yeah, and then I have a new aerial root growing here, so I'm just going to extend my moss pole up a little higher and fill it with moss. But I'm very hopeful that this plant will grow big. It's my second Monstera albo that I've acquired. My first one was a cutting. Yeah, it died. I couldn't get it to root, and it just kept rotting and rotting until like it rotted past the node. So it's like, well, there really isn't a point in keeping that one because it's not going to grow anymore. So yes, so I'm gonna get started and just pot this. So for whatever reason, every time I want to film, I run out of moss. I'm trying not to use as much moss, but it's just keeping up with these moss poles requires a lot of moss for some reason. So I usually get mine from Will Grow. I recently got some from Devon's. I think theirs is local and the moss is totally different. Let me see if I can pull some out. I don't know if you can see. And then the bottom here is like the Will Grow stuff, but this stuff, it's got bigger fibers and it's like a lot fluffier, and it actually, I find that it absorbs water a little bit better even when it's dry. Because with these ones here, when it's dry, like the water just goes right through it and it doesn't have a chance to actually absorb. Yeah. So anyways, this is what I have here. I live really far from Abbotsford, so I'm not really gonna go that far. I'm also very picky with the Will Grow brand because I like the sphagnum moss to be long and fibrous rather than small, like chopped up bits. I just think it creates more dust kick-up. But we'll see with this one. Like I don't really have a choice here, so yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna let this soak up a little bit. So what I mean by like long fiber strands is like long like this. I don't like the short ones like this, like little poo pellets. So I think you get the point. Alright, so if you guys haven't seen Charmaine's video, she basically, we use this clear, I guess, cover page that you can get off Amazon. It's used for binding, but this big sheet and it's a big package, so if you guys want to make these moss balls, you can, and it just, you can split it up with like so many different like friends of yours if they're into plants, because it's a lot. Alright, so I'm just redirecting this guy here. So I'm just taking off all the straps. I hate working with moss, it's so messy. Okay. Alright, we are good. Oh yes, and these straps. Mama Jean, you are a freaking genius. It's one strap that I've cut. You put a slit on this side and a slit going up this way. So when you come together, it closes like this, and you are solid. So that's how I made the secured straps. So back here. Alright. I don't want to put too many new ones of these, so I can use this one for a different moss pole. I'm just gonna cut a longer one. Let's see, where do I go up? Yeah, so just gonna go here. I'm just gonna slip it under or through one of the straps here. Good. And then I guess I don't need to make another strap today, but I'll use the old one here. Okay. Looks secure. So I've got this aerial root covered, and then this one will eventually grow an aerial root too. So I've got that covered for, I think, a couple months, hopefully. All right, so my sphagnum moss is somewhat hydrated now. I'm gonna remove these old twigs and long fibrous sticks and roots, I think, that are not needed here. Yeah, so I think the Will Grow brand has a lot more of these like extra stuff in the moss, so that's another thing that I don't really enjoy. But yeah, so I've squeezed out most of the water in here, and then I'm just going to start filling the moss hole. Okay, so this is now extended and it is done. As it's getting taller and the aerial roots are growing into the moss, hopefully this will produce some fenestration again. Fingers crossed. But this is feeling a little wonky. Okay, I'm gonna strap it down a little bit. That's probably why I have this. It is looking a little thirsty, so I'm just gonna water this big boy here. I love pond for this reason. I just fill it up. I really no love involved. Just fill it up. I fill it a quarter way, and yeah, that's my plant. Okay, the next one here I have is a Alocasia crystal. It's a Anthurium crystallinum. It actually has 2 growth points here, so I'm just going to cut it off because like it's growing funny, and I don't think it will ever grow nicely. But anyways, I don't think the roots are doing really well because I'm impatient and I just put it into pond right away, and I haven't seen any roots develop, so we shall pull this out and see. Oh no. Okay. Mush on mush. But there are new roots. So you can see there are new roots, so hopefully they have roots growing on both of the growth points. That way I can like chop it up. But I'm just gonna get this cleaned off, and then I'm just gonna remove all the roots that are import roots and mush looking. The import roots are definitely the yellow ones, not the white ones there. Okay, the last time I cut my plant, I totally chopped off a leaf too. So I'm just gonna use alcohol swab and just clean off my cutters here. Don't want any bacterial growth, nor do I clean these scissors often. I'm so terrible. Oh. I have my rooting powder. This is just a random container, but it's basically my rooting hormone and some cinnamon mixed into here. You can add sulfur in there and it'll help fight against any fungal or bacteria, but I have the cinnamon in there, so it'll help. All right, so I'm gonna get cutting. Oh, it's mushy. Okay. It's so weird because the root is growing out of the mush. Alright, so I'm going to dip this into the rooting hormone right away and just let the bottom callus before I pot it up. I'm just going to clean the chalk off a bit because there's some tissues that I can rip off here. So now that it's slightly cleaner, I can dip it. Oh no, I broke a root. So this one's quite dirty too, so I'm just gonna clean it up. I'm not going to put any rooting hormone on this one because it's got more than enough to work with. You have reached the end of the video. Those who stuck by and completely watched everything, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. If you have any video suggestions or have anything that you would like to see, make sure you drop it in the comment box below. I do check them and I try my best to reply to them, given that I do get notifications on them. Now, I want to say again, enjoy your holidays. Really take this time to just replenish yourself, sleep lots if you need to, and just ready yourself for the new year. And thank you once again for supporting me and continuing to just show me lots of love. And I will definitely try my best to make more videos. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will definitely see you guys soon. Thank you, and bye-bye.